NPW, Nathan Public Wadio.
What is the going thing?
A musical montage, homage, parody of the Beatles' Help.
Hey. Whoa. Hey. Whoa. Hey, 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 hey. Yeah. Whoa. Hey, yeah. Hey. Whoa. Hey, yeah. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. Hey. Hey. Yeah, hey. Hey, yeah.
I'm Flan Griddlesworthy.
Hello, I'm Blathan Smithington.
Thank you for watching NPW.
We'll continue with the feature presentation in a moment, but first,
We're here tonight to ask for your support.
so please pledge now. We have a special guest today, Sailor the Cat. Say hello, Sailor.
What's this all about then, governor? Osh gosh bigosh, mate?
Well, that's an interesting story.
It sure is.
Thanks for being on the show, Sailor. We really appreciate your support.
Supporting the arts is so important. Won't you please pledge today?
Bye, Eppendorf. Let's all say
See you
goodbye,
later.
Eppendorf.
Eppendorf was just running to her computer to make a generous donation to NPW.
It's as easy as this. F1. No, I didn't save this. Yes, exit without saving. God.
It's so easy.
Isn't that right?
It sure is.
That is a very nice thing, and it is her continued donation and donations from viewers like you that help support the arts and keep funding Nathan Smith Super Pussy to DVD. Won't you please donate today?
It looks like Sailor just went to donate also.
So please go to the internet and click pledge. Please pledge now. Please pledge now.
Won't you please pledge now?
Please pledge now.
Please pledge now. Our volunteers are ready and waiting to take your pledge.
They're live waiting for you for your pledge. Please pledge now.
This program is made possible by contributions from viewers like you.
Please pledge now. Pledge now.
When you donate today, we will thank you with a gift.
We're reaching out for your support of $3,141.59.
$3,141.59. That's an interesting number, Blathan.
It is, Flan. It happens to be 1,000 times pi.
A killer pie.
When you back this project, we will thank you with a gift.
So please, give now and give generously.
At the $1 level, you will receive our thanks.
Thanks.
At the $25 level, we will thank you with a postcard featuring art from the movie.
At the $50 level, you will receive the DVD of Nathan Smith's Super Pussy.
Contributors who pledge $100 and more will receive the combo package of the DVD as well as a tote bag.
Totes bag.
For the especially generous pledge of $200 and more, the ultimate Nathan Smith's Super Pussy package,
The DVD.
the tote bag,
And a mug.
bam,
This program is made possible by contributions from viewers like you.
bam,
Help us reach our goal.
pledge now.
Visit our page on Kickstarter and click pledge.
Won't you pledge now?
Now we would like to bring you some extra features. Nathan Smith, director of Nathan Smith Super Pussy.
Hello.
Right, so I'm Nathan Smith, director of Nathan Smith's Super Pussy. It came about one day because it was I like to read Archie comics, you know. Right, so I was mooking about with me mates, and we was my flatmates, you know, we was at the pub, and I was having a pint of lager and a bag of crisps, and I finished me fish and chips, and I was looking at that last chip, and it was looked like Jughead, and I was I like to read Archie comics. Why don't I make an animated cartoon musical feature? And I was oi, why don't we make a video? You like to sing and dance, Sailor, Princess Floofy Butt, you like to sing and dance, and positively nattered, I was out of me mind. I don't even remember it. And so, we just did it, and, it happened, and it was there, and now we're trying to finish it to DVD, and that's why we'd like you to queue up and pledge your support today.
That was an interesting segment from the director, Nathan Smith.
He has a British accent, doesn't he, Flan? We like bringing you magic, and it's your continued support that keeps the magic on the air.
Don't let the magic die.
Magic like this.
Thank you for your support. Now, let's get back to the feature presentation.
Hey, hey, hey. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, 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 yeah. And stop. Hey, hey. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, hey, yeah. Now. Hey, hey.
Thank you for watching NPW.
NPW, where art happens.
We're reaching out for your support of $3,141.59. When you back this project, we will thank you with a gift. So please give now and give generously. At the $1 level, you'll receive our thanks. At the $25 level, we will thank you with a postcard with art from the movie. At the $50 level, you will receive the DVD of Nathan Smith's Super Pussy. Contributors who pledge $100 and more will receive the combo package of the DVD as well as a tote bag. Totes. Bag. For the especially generous pledge of $200 and more, the ultimate Nathan Smith Super Pussy package, the DVD, the tote bag, and a mug. Bam. This program is made possible by contributions from viewers like you. Bam. Help us reach our goal. Pledge now. Visit our page on Kickstarter and click pledge. Won't you pledge now?
Let's doing this now, boy. Jolly good show on Chap. I say, jolly good. Don't you know? Jolly good. I say, jolly good.
Go
Jolly
show. Jolly good. Jolly good show. Jolly
NPW. Nathan Public Wadio.